Who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
On goes Paul. People might yet win it here for Wolves. Flash in the shot. What a goal! Following you in all its magnificence.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to the Wolves Fancast Friday preview show. With me are Luke and Dan. Remember, we are part of the 90-minute football network. But it's the weekend. How are you feeling, boys?
Rejuvenated.
Relieved. That's Friday.
Rejuvenated. That's nice. That's
I've had a few days away. I didn't get suckered into the old let's get angry over a Carabao Cup defeat. I'm just ready for the weekend.
Well, I mean, half an hour's time, we'll ask you the same question, Dan, to be fair, and maybe you'll be feeling it a bit more. But officially, obviously, this is the preview show, guys. But without kind of having had the chance to get into the muck and nettles of the Tottenham fixture, a 2-2 draw with a defeat on penalties, we're gonna have a look at that game now. And it was an eventful one, wasn't it, Luke?
I think so. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't even get a chance to watch it because my lad was training down Compton. So I think I got back for like the last 15 minutes, saw the penalties. But I tried to get a little bit on my phone, but it's hard when your lad's playing at the same time to watch the games. But yeah, it looked eventful. I got the first 25 minutes on my phone, and again, we looked all over the shop. The defence, well, not just the defence, but the defending still looks like it looked 18 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, if you're catching the first 25 minutes of that game and then not watching the rest, you've definitely got a very negative view probably of that performance. Not necessarily the case that we were brilliant for the rest of it, but you know,
I'm not even too negative about it. It is what it is. We went 2-0 down, two poor goals to concede, in my opinion. But you know, you've got to give credit for pulling it back to 2-2 against. I mean, I don't rate Tottenham too much, if I'm being honest, but one of the bigger teams in the country, to then bring it back to 2-2. You've got to give credit to the lads there, and then penalties, it's a lottery, isn't it?
Well, I guess thinking about that Tottenham team and the way they lined up, I mean, we clearly made plenty of changes for the game, Dan. And given that much admired, much loved former manager was at the helm in the opposition dugout and clearly took the game very seriously. Did that leave a little bit of a sour taste? Because I was quite frustrated when I saw that Tottenham lineup.
In hindsight, you could say it did, but you look at the squad depth between the two teams and the fact that he's sort of more his job's on the line, isn't it, for him at the moment? He needs a bit of a cup run. He can't go into the game against Arsenal the weekend on the back of being knocked out the League Cup and the current league form. He needs to get the fans back on side, and I think the side that he put out against us on Wednesday night was very, very strong, considering you still look at Man City being the favourites in that cup. Even their third string team would finish above us in the league, I think, Man City. So he just needs to get the fans on side. I was really surprised at how strong a team he put out. But like I said, I think he needs to get wins. And going into the game against Arsenal the weekend, I think he needed to get Davinson Sanchez and Romero playing together, because I think they'll be their centre-back pairing against Arsenal the weekend.
I think that was the most disappointing thing, because I think if we would have beaten Tottenham going into the North London derby, puts Nuno under a hell of a lot of pressure, doesn't it? And obviously, you know, people will probably slag me off for this and it splits the fan base, but I'd have loved it if we would have just fucking turned the screw on it a little bit and just applied that little bit of pressure.
So you're just a bit sadistic though, aren't you?
No, not at all. Not at all. But don't think he were happy when they beat us 1-0 at the beginning of the season. And don't think that he wasn't happy when they knocked us out the cup. So that's why I don't get it. Like, he's the manager of Tottenham Hotspur now. Like, yeah, don't get it.
I mean, going back to that first half, and that first half an hour in particular was quite shoddy. Given that we made so many changes, do you think that had a lot to do with it? Certain players not necessarily up to speed yet. Mosquera really unfortunate with the injury very early on as well. How much can we put it down to the change lineup, Dan?
The way that we sort of defended in that first 25 minutes, you can point at it massively. I think Bolly and Mosquera next to Cody were just all over the place. They didn't seem match sharp whatsoever. I just thought, as a unit, the shape we started in the first half an hour was just all over the place. I don't know whether there was still a bit of a hangover from the previous regime, but the way we were set up was none of them looked confident in the role that they were asked to do.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, me personally, going back to the defending the defence, it's a concern. I think when you go back to the Brentford game, we conceded the first goal, and mentally, from a defensive point of view, we looked shot. Every time Brentford went forward, then they looked like scoring. I mean, they had a couple disallowed as well. We just looked an absolute shambles. Now, for me, when you're in positions like that, especially when your captain's a centre half, that's where we've got to really rally the troops. And, all right, we've conceded the goal, but no, we stay solid now. 10, 15 minutes, we stay solid, stay as a unit, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I put in the group chat, I'm sure it was, it was during the Tottenham game. Now, I'd love to know the stats, especially at Molineux, for how many times we've conceded off the first shot on target. Because I don't know about you guys, but for me, it seems like it's all the time. Even back to like the first season in the Prem, we'd be in a game and we'd be on top. 15, 20 minutes in, the opposition would have a break, have a shot, and you're like, fuck me, we're 1-0 down.
That felt like a Rui problem last season, didn't it? But I guess maybe it's a bit more symptomatic of wider issues at the back. If we have a look at the goals, I mean, the first one was a degree of fortune about it, but I mean, Cody could have probably cleared the ball anywhere. But this is kind of a mini GTA, guys, as we have a look at this. And this is a freeze frame just before we concede the second goal. From this position, gents, how concerned are you?
Massively, to be honest, with how deep eight Nori is, because one ball over the top in our defence that is renowned for having no pace. Kane's in, isn't it?
It's very strange how pushed up our midfield is, and our defence is high, but there's still just a massive gap between the two. You just wonder how we've ended up in that situation.
It's a weird one because I mean, you're looking at it, and there is that glaring gap in the middle of the park, but even with the ball coming through, you still would like to think you're in control of that situation because it's 5v4. You'd like to think at least one of the midfielders, one of the wide midfielders would drop in as well to help defend a counter attack. So then you're looking at a 6v4. So you'd like to think you're in control of the situation, but we just wasn't.
Yeah, I think it's Neves that has a loose touch just prior to this, and then Skip comes in and intercepts. Lays it. I think is it Lo Celso just in front of our defence then in all that space. But when the ball goes into him, clearly decisions are then starting to happen. We're perhaps being encouraged to be a bit more on the front foot. But what is Connor Cody doing? Going out and pressing him there, Dan?
It beggars belief, honestly, considering the way of how well we've been drilled in that setup the last couple of years. But maybe it's just, I don't know, it's just a reckless moment for him, isn't he? Is he feeling the pressure at the moment? Does he feel his place is under threat? Did he actually start right centre back?
When he came on for Mosquera and slotted in there, and that was at the point at which I think he went to make the clearance straight into Ndombele, and then he went and scored, and then they made the switch. But we were just quite haphazard at that point in the game anyway. So yeah, it felt a bit more natural to have him in the middle. But like you say, maybe it is that pressure that's making him make rash decisions to think, you know what, if I want to be a Bruno player, I've got to be a little bit more capable. And on the front foot and a bit more aggressive with my defending, but
I know he's not. I know Connor Cody's not on Twitter, but the negativity that's going his way at the moment is rife. So I'm not sure what it's like for Instagram, which I know he's on, but the pressure's got to be building on it because everyone knows that Bruno wants to play with a back four, And you look at our defensive options. If you go into a back four, he's not one of your first centre backs, is he?
No, you're not. And I mean, you can't knock the slick football from there. I think the ball gets knocked into Ali and he plays the first time. Lovely pass. And I think, to be honest, at times in that first half, I was genuinely quite impressed with Tottenham and the slickness with which they played. Harry Kane, he always impresses me with his touch. And when you watch him at close quarters, he's a much better player at that point than when you're watching on TV. Sometimes I think you get a bit more respect for him from watching in the stadium. But I mean, 2-0 down, it's not looking good. And kind of out of nowhere, we managed to pull the game back a little bit with Leander Dendoncker header. As a player who hasn't started the league games, obviously, is he someone that's potentially in with a shout at playing this weekend?
I would think so, because I mean it's well documented my thoughts on João Moutinho, but I don't see what Moutinho is bringing to the team at the minute to warrant keeping Dendoncker at the squad. Well, sorry, at the starting lineup. But then at the same time, has Dendoncker done enough in the minutes that he has been given? It's a difficult one, isn't it? But then again, I suppose it all depends. The sort of opposite. For me, Dendoncker just offers that little bit more, especially off set pieces, because going forward and defending, he's an asset to the team on set pieces, whereas Moutinho's not. Even attacking set pieces,
he's the one taking.
I think he's a hindrance because he still can't beat the first man off a corner.
I talked about this, Luke. I did talk about this in one of my last videos. So go back and check it out.
It's right. I don't get it. You don't expect a corner to be put on the money every time.
Who put the corner in the other night, Gully?
Ain't Nuri.
Then there you go.
You was hoping it was fucking Moutinho, then, were you?
No, I wasn't. I knew Moutinho didn't.
I've seen it in his eyes.
Late in the second half, but the bottom line is an out swinger from that position, probably looking to play it in a different kind of way. It was quite flat and difficult to deal with. That's ultimately what you're looking for, I think, rather than necessarily looping it up and kind of it being anybody's ball.
You haven't necessarily got to have João Moutinho on every single corner.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're right.
But for whatever reason, he is. And I would say his corners are poor. If he has 10 corners, how many are you looking and saying, fucking hell, good delivery that was? 2, maybe 3. So you're looking at 20-30%. Nah.
I'm gonna piss Dan off here, but he ain't as bad as Mark Kennedy was.
I reckon I could get you a lot more set piece assists from Mark Kennedy a whole lot real than Moutinho has.
You know what? I'd love to see that, because I think Moutinho is still one of our biggest chance creators and assisters since he's joined the club at the end of the day. So I'll bring it on. But
well, we're going to talk about the penalties in a bit. I just think João Moutinho, he thinks he's Cristiano Ronaldo. He has to be on every set pieces, and just give someone else a try.
Yeah.
I think we had a moment in the second half where Neves lined up a free kick, and to be fair, I think he flicked the top of the wall and he weren't too far away. But moving towards kind of second half time, Fabio Silva was dragged for Adama Traore.
Needs a trim.
It really wasn't Fabio's day at all, and I think there was a multitude of reasons for it. But Dan, was you at the game, or did you give it a miss on this one? But
no, it was a sales away.
He really did.
I've saw the game. I watched it whilst I was out having dinner, which defeats the object of going away if you have to watch balls when you're away. But
it's true.
It's true. I think the way that we set up, the fact that how quick we went down 2-0, he was on a 100-0 Fabio. I think they had to change it at half time, and he was obviously the one that had to be hooked.
He seemed totally isolated, but I mean, I don't know if. How does that make you feel about him and in the way he's going to be progressing for now? Do you just put it down to a bad day at the office?
We're going to need an ad manager option at the moment soon, because no way we're getting half that £35 million back. It's harsh. He needs to have his Harry Kane loans out where to Leighton Orient, Norwich, the Leicesters, those teams. He needs to have them loan spells out.
But Harry Kane went to those clubs because he wasn't seen as part of Tottenham's future at that point.
Yeah,
They
he needs to
basically
learn.
written
He
him off.
needs to learn his craft in the English game, whether it's in the lower leagues or not. Everyone knows. I think everyone believes, and the sports science behind it, that he will bulk up and be an absolute top level striker. But he needs to learn his craft, and we haven't got the opportunities to give it him at the moment. Now Huang's coming.
Is Silva even playing for the under-23s?
No, he hasn't.
Doesn't
What
play,
football is
does
he getting? What football is he actually getting? Because
What?
how many minutes has he got in the Premier League?
He's come on a couple of times towards the end of games. He's not really had a chance to make an impact. but
Exactly. We're
I
killing
think
him.
Bruno, to be fair to him, Nuno wasn't interested in letting the players play for the 23s, was he? But Bruno has said if the players want to go and get their minutes there, then I think it's basically on a request basis almost that, if he wants to go and play, then they'll let him go. Mosquera had half an hour, I think, the other week for the 23s as well. And it makes total sense because, even just from a confidence perspective, if he goes and bags a couple
Listen,
at that level,
he could go and win the Papa John's Trophy, mate.
First
That's
silver
what
on the other hand, he goes and plays a couple of games on the 23s and doesn't score, and then the pressure's even more on him. Then
but then you're backing his ability there, though, aren't you?
Is he still eligible for the under-18s, just in case?
He'd already be playing under 23s for me. If he's not starting or at least coming on for more than 15, 20 minutes on a Saturday, he's playing now for the under 23s.
Yeah. So, I mean, going on to the second half of the Spurs game, there was an uplifting performance, kind of led by Adama. Huang playing through the middle as well, really aggressive. I like what I saw from him, but it just seemed to put Tottenham on the back foot a little bit. And if we kind of have a look at the second goal that we scored as well, you can see here we've got 4 players surrounding Ndombele in possession of the ball. You'd never have seen this. Would have been comfortable possession for Tottenham under Nuno. Would have been sat back probably behind the halfway line, maybe set forward somewhere hovering around it to kind of guide where he wants the ball to go. But when you see Huang win that ball high up, it's quite an exciting prospect, isn't it? When you see what Bruno's trying to achieve with this team.
That's what we was expecting from Patrick Cutrone. Hassling, intercepting, putting the defenders on the back foot. But Cutrone just ran around like a headless chicken and never got involved physically.
I think that's what Huang seriously he's a serious prospect physically, isn't he?
But maybe it will be good from a perspective of pushing Raul a little bit as well. Not saying that he's comfortable at all, but I think there have been times where he has been a bit comfortable in his Wolves career. I think competition's good. And if he's going to do a job through the middle.
I mean, Huang, he clearly has a few elements to his game. I think just before this, early in the first half, he got across the front post and had a decent chance where the cross came in from the
penalty
right.
That was, mate.
You reckon?
Oh, he's been absolutely cleaned out.
I mean, I can't argue this point because last Sunday I was playing and a striker had the same situation where he had a shot at goal, the keeper took him out, and we didn't get a penalty given against us. So
it's one of them, right, where in the actual game, it's not a penalty. But without the Premier League, well, I know this wasn't a Premier League game, but how the rules are, or the laws in the top level at elite sport now, that's a penalty all day.
Is there something in the idea that he basically got his shot off and there was nothing impeding him from doing that then?
All right, then. So I'll let you get your shot off, and then I'm just going to absolutely wow you. Not wow you from behind because that's a bit dodgy, but I'm absolutely, just Amir. Sound then you've got your shot off. I don't impede you. Will you tie a pen? Don't worry about that.
If it's a genuine attempt for the ball, and you would suggest it was a genuine attempt for the ball. He went in there desperately, but it's not like he was going in to clean him out.
It was a genuine attempt for the ball when Harvey Elliott got his leg broke the other week and he got sent off.
But that's a different issue entirely.
Why? Because he's got injured. So if Wang would have got injured, then would it have been a penalty and a red card? This is what I mean. There's no consistency.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I agree with you. The bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah. On that front, but
so it's a penalty in modern football, top level.
Are you happy with it being a penalty though? As in the sense that.
No, that's why I said like in the game, it's not a penalty. There's loads of decisions that I'm not happy with, but it's just the way top level football is now, isn't it? It's crap. It's crap. VAR, all this bollocks crap. Similar at the beginning of the season when Trincao got took out by Dan James. Penalty. But again, there's no consistency, zero consistency.
Yeah.
All that bollocks.
Yeah, no, you've definitely got a point. You definitely got a point. But we finally got to celebrate a couple of goals at Molineux, which I have to say, it felt bloody good. It felt bloody good. And that equaliser from Podence. Yeah, for a Wednesday night Carabao Cup fixture, there was a buzz around the stadium, regardless of how many regulars were there and whatnot. It felt like, Molineux was kind of back to where it should be. But Daniel Podence, as a player, we've spoken about him quite a bit, I think, in pre-season and the impact he can have. 2 goals in 2 games in the Carabao Cup, 2 starts. Is he knocking on the door of the first team for this weekend as well, Dan?
He has to be, with the performance Trincao put in against Brentford. Me and you, good. I know you and Luke had that bet last season about Neto and Podence, but I think Podence, as soon as he gets on the ball, he's looking to make something happen in an attacking sense. There's never any thought to go back or just recycle possession. It's who's making runs. Can I make a pass? That's what he brings to this team. I think once Neto's back and you've got both of them on either wing, will be a different animal, because at the moment we just get the ball to Adama and it's hope for the best, isn't it?
I think we are becoming less reliant on him. I have noticed that. I think you can't
not use him because of the I was going to say the word output then. What he actually makes, he'll always make something happen, but I don't know. It's just nothing seems to click, does it? Nothing seems to just land on Jimenez's volley like in the 6-yard box. It's frustrating. But
Jimenez isn't getting into the box either. That feels like it's part of the plan for some reason.
He had the header against Brentford when he took his headband off. That was from an adult.
Well, you can't Traore's involvement in that. He put it up there. Okay, it wasn't the easiest chance, but you expect him to score from there. That's Raul's bread and butter, in my opinion. But getting to kind of full time at 2-2. Now we'll talk about the penalties in a second. But how do you view that result? Like how did you? I felt okay kind of at the end of the game, knowing that we'd gone down, we were shite, and we managed to pull it back. That I feel like that should give them a good boost as a bunch of players, personally, Luke.
Yeah, I think you'd like to think so. Again, Tottenham, I don't like Tottenham. Not going to lie, I don't like them. But they're one of the biggest teams in the country. The Big Six, all that crap. So a draw is a decent result. I mean, if that was a league game, we would have taken a draw. But I think on the flip side, 2 home games on the spin and you've gone 2-0 down in the first half as well in both games. That's a concern, and it's something that definitely needs to be addressed. I think, I don't know, it's starting to almost feel a bit like a culture within the club of going down early in the first half. I think I can remember when we played Huddersfield, was it Burnley at home in the first or second season? I think when we played Watford first season, we might have gone down. No, because Doherty, Doherty scored a winner.
That was the first season.
We did lose.
There's been a couple of games anyway where you'd like to think that we're favourites, but we find ourselves down early or midway through the first half. And to me, it's happening. It seems to be happening that often. Is it becoming a bit of a culture? And it's certainly a culture that you don't want. Not if you've got aspirations like Folsom have to be the biggest club in the universe.
Where do you think that comes from, though? That when you call it a culture, well, what is that about?
Is it a mentality?
I think it's a mentality from the way we used to set up games under Nuno, where it was stifle the opposition for the first hour and then try and win with fine margins in the last half an hour. I think the too reluctant to try and press for goals right from kickoff, like what we've sort of grown up wanting, really.
Mm-hmm.
Get the ball wide and make some chances, but I think them too happy to play the ball around the back 5 and build the way into games instead of actually trying to impress.
It's a bit of it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? Because we know Nuno always kind of gave us a chance in games with the way he set the team up. But we also know that if we want to get ahead in a game, getting out there and getting onto a team early is probably the best way to go, while still leaving yourself a little bit susceptible.
Surely, if your go-to style of play is counter-attack, I know this is going to probably like contradict now, but surely you want to be getting an early lead so you can soak up and then play counter-attack.
Yeah. Definitely. I'd agree.
I think this is why it's so important for this team in particular to get the first goal in a game. You know, we saw it at Forest where off a set piece, we picked up the first goal. We had chances up until that point, and Forest were shite. But the floodgates really opened after that first goal.
But I think when you look back at last season as well, wasn't there a crazy stat about how often we conceded first in games?
Yeah.
And we'd only scored first in, I don't know, something like 3 out of 20 games or something absolutely ridiculous like that.
That's where the approach falls down, though, isn't it? You know, because football's random and random shit happens, like Ndombele blocking a cross and then blocking a clearance, and the ball literally landing at his feet. You know, little things like that will have an impact on a football match, and ultimately you went and scored the goal. So, it's a difficult one because you can try and analyse a game to death, but when shit like that happens, it's a bit like, well, what's the point? But
I just think when we concede a goal as well, I don't know. We just look like we don't know what we're doing. Like the players look petrified.
At one point, I think you would have said that we were quite assured, even if we'd conceded the first goal in the game. But now at this point, we look panicking. We look more likely to concede the next one than probably go back and get back into the game. But if we move on to the penalty shootout, I just want to kind of get your take on this, because there's a lot of commentary around who took the penalties, players that missed the target entirely. And if we look at it, it was Hwang first. Second was Neves.
No.
Matinho second, then Neves, and then Dendoncker. Does that strike you as a lineup that's going to win you a penalty shootout?
Who else is going to take one, though? That was on the pitch. I mean, you got Herva, young kid. Would you trust him? Semedo, again, would you trust him with a penalty?
There won't play screaming at here, apart from probably Adama, and he missed now. That's Carabao Cup shootout.
I wouldn't trust Adama with a penalty. Some players, even they can be the best player in the world, but they just don't seem like a good penalty taker, if that makes sense.
I think Max Kilman scored one in the Premier League Cup over in China. He's got pedigree now.
I think we've got Cody's record up, didn't we? Well done.
4 shootouts now he's missed in. 4. I thought it was 3.
Always
I was convinced it was 3. It's 4 penalty shootouts.
That tells me then that nobody else is putting their fucking hand up.
Yeah, I'm not going to knock the lad for stepping up, being the captain and taking a penalty. But I don't know. I think everything's going against him at the moment. I think it was inevitable in hindsight now that he was going to miss. But just let Ruddy have a go. I don't want you in a shootout, because you just... Apart from your penalty against Bolton when we were already 3-0 up, it ain't your forte, mate.
Do you think it's almost a specialist thing, though, taking penalties?
I don't think it's specialist, but I think you've got to have something about it, which is going back to my points the other night, which I said in our WhatsApp group. Dendoncker, Connor Cody, João Matinho strike shots, whether it's in a penalty shootout or in a match, like they're taking a corner. There's no venom in it. There's no sort of confidence or assurance of where they're actually aiming for. It's just nice and composed without no sort of, as I said, venom. And I'm saying this because I was that sort of footballer on an 11-side pitch. I could put a delivery in and put a set piece in all day, but when it came to shooting, as shown in our charity match, can't shoot for toffee. I'm too soft.
It, man. I don't get you forwards, man. Just fucking leather it.
Nah, it's all about that. Look, the way Connor Cody took that penalty, like the in-step out David Beckham used to whip crosses in. There was no sort of...
You don't need to find the corner. You need to find the back of the net. That's what you need to find. Like it just bothers me a little bit. But
Hwang got lucky with his penalty.
Yeah,
I thought that
was probably the worst one.
Galini, was it the keeper?
Yeah, Galini.
I thought he should have saved that penalty. I don't know how he decided to make dive the way he did for Pedence's goal, because everyone knows you're a right footer coming
It's
from the
going
left
that
side of the
side.
pitch. It's going that side.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was doing. I just
Yeah.
thought it was really awful goalkeeping. I thought he should have saved Frank's penalty as well.
Yeah, and Neves' penalty was very poor as well.
But
And he's missed a few now. He missed off the top of my head. He missed against Ajax in pre-season, didn't he? He missed
Sheffield United.
He's missed
Sheffield
against Tottenham at home, didn't he?
Did it? I don't know.
No,
Didn't
we scored.
Did he
not-
score that night?
We scored 2.
Oh, right,
I'm
okay.
sure he missed a penalty towards the North Bank in either a friendly or a European match, like a qualifier or something.
You might be right. You know.
So, I mean, he's looking at missing 4 penalties out of... I mean, he took that many, has he? He took 6 or 7. Because Raul takes them now. And he has done
I think he was just trying to be too... Not too cute. He
you
knows where
notice-
he's aiming, and he's just got too much on it.
Did you notice that Tottenham brought Reguilon on literally with the last minute?
Yeah. Great penalty.
But clearly, you know, it's been in the news, obviously, with Noble missing his penalty and Sancho and Rashford and bringing on a taker without any warm-up, without any kind of chance to get involved in the game, and then just taking a pen. He showed it was done.
Yeah.
Reguilon and that Brian Gill's penalties were just
Brilliant.
brilliant penalties. Yeah,
Harry
we don't
Kane,
know,
I'm
John.
not-
Harry Kane was class as well, to be fair.
Nobody's saving them, like, ever. You've got to stand in that corner if you want to save it. But
Stuart Jones in the comments says Ruben missed against Bratislava in front of the South Bank.
I don't recall.
I've got a vision of him. I'm sure I sat in a game, might have even been a friendly, in the North Bank, and I've seen him miss a penalty. I'm probably wrong, but I must have dreamt it. But yeah, I knew he's definitely missed more.
There you go. Well, out of the Carabao Cup for another season, guys. So
It annoys me though, because I love a cup run. I do. I don't care if it's the Carabao Cup, Coca-Cola Cup, Milk Cup, whatever you
Winning
want.
breeds winning.
It does, man. And at the end of the day, it might be the Carabao Cup, but we're in the last 16 already before you play 2 fucking games.
I think that's why everybody was so buzzing about the Forest victory. Just regardless of whether it was Forest or not, we saw
Just
the
the win.
Wolves team go out and hammer a team, and it made you feel good about it.
I think
doesn't
it played
matter if
into the
they're playing-
narrative of how many chances we were making the Nottingham Forest win. That you could thought we've battered a team here like we should have won games against Leicester and Man United with the chances they had. Now that we're finally putting chances away, that's gonna cross over now into our league form, and then did that come and bite us on the arse?
But then you look at how Forest have been performing this season. I'm on 1 point, are they?
Yeah, they're in
Gotta
the
beat what's
mire
in
with
front of
Derby
you.
County. They are.
Got to beat what's in front of you. There you go.
Sad. Otherwise, next season. Man City win it every season anyway, but it would have been nice to maybe get to us, because it's 2 legs in the semis as well, eh?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, so it kind of does it give you a chance to try after having to beat them twice?
No, but imagine if you got somebody, I don't know, whoever you got. It's just nice. 2 leg games. I'm just nice, are they?
There isn't anyone in that cup draw that we shouldn't be confident at beating in a 2-legged affair, including Man City's 3rd string, which he'd more than likely put out.
Yeah, that's true.
Just spending over £1 billion without winning the Champions League give you leniency when you're winning 4 League Cups.
I hear you asking.
Probably
No, look, it doesn't. I just wanted to see what he said.
But I mean, what's the League Cup to us is something. To Man City, it's nothing, ain't it? Like, they should stop winning it because they don't care about it. Let somebody who cares about
Let them.
the Carabao Cup win it.
Let them.
Yeah. To be fair, they're that good that they would have to let somebody win it.
Yeah, said
I
their
think you
first
have
string.
serious issues with the competition law if you just let someone win. But,
Right.
we'll move on to the Southampton game now, boys and girls.
After this quick commercial break.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
Hi, it's Richard from Wolves Fancast here. Just interrupting today's show before we get back to some questionable opinions and opinionated questions to talk to you a little bit about our sponsors, Pixel Yeti Media. They are a design agency that put you and your business first, from web design, logo and branding design, and marketing. If you have any marketing needs, get in touch with them to find out how they can help you get it right. They are over at pixelyetimedia.com. gmail.com. Now let's get back to a show where we can give you some really forced wordplay, niche cultural references, and maybe even a bit of football talk.
Thank you for sticking with us. Really, thank you for sticking with us. Let's preview this weekend's Henry Kamara derby. That challenge from Henry Kamara and Jason Dodd, unreal. Then he went and scored in the same game. What's your thoughts on that challenge? And just quick thoughts on Henry Kamara.
He's frustrating, wasn't he? I loved him.
It's not right there.
I loved him. He was, because we didn't really have many foreign players back in the day, did we?
Nah.
He was the first, like.
Senegal wristband.
Did ya?
Nah.
Nah.
He didn't get my vote for player of the season.
You didn't wear the orange vapors either, then.
I had white vapors.
Oh, man. That was, to be fair, it was cool having him up front for a spell. Like, it just, even if he was missing chances, you just looked at him. He's rapid. He's running rings around people. And then he's missing sitters. And when he scored that winner against Leicester, the 4-3 with his first goal, that was a moment, man. That was a moment.
Hassan Kashlul assist.
Who did he score that banger against? Was it Man City or Everton? And he scored that absolute banger from the edge of the box.
Everton, I think, at home. But there was a spell where he kept scoring, like, towards the end of the season, scored a few.
Scored a banger against Everton. Banger against Bolton past Jeskalainen.
Yeah. Middlesbrough as well. There's one where he kind of hooked it off a long throw. What a player. Remembered fondly at Molineux. But
it was his agent that killed him, to be fair, that Willie McCoy. Killed him.
He got him a few moves out of it. I think he went up to Celtic after a while, didn't he? And he had a decent career in the end. Not quite African Player of the Year.
It was crap, Gully. It was crap. He did nothing at Southampton. He did nothing at Celtic. And then I don't even know where he went after that.
Wigan, he did really well for Wigan. He basically helped them establish themselves properly.
Didn't he come out in the press and say, "Yeah, I want to win African Player of the Year" or something?
Yeah,
he's just crap.
I mean, Samuel Eto'o was in his prime at the time, so I don't think he ever had any chance of that. To be fair, but
everyone keeps on moaning about Faust at the moment, but I think Jez Moxey got something like £3 million off Celtic to loan him.
Yeah, but he got a decent wedge off Southampton as well for the loan, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He done wonders for us on that.
I think we made profit on Henry Kamara in loan fees after he left us.
Yeah. Not that it did us any good in getting back, did it?
No.
But,
imagine what he'd have been like in the Championship, him and Vial Ganea up front.
Oh, we'd have torn it apart.
Yeah, well, that Kenny Miller then as well. And Carl Court. We should have benched straight back, shouldn't we, really?
We should have. Talking about modern day Southampton. First things first, lads. Anyone got any spare aways?
I reckon I've got about 20 under the bed.
It's becoming slightly farcical, I think, this weekend, isn't it?
It's loyalty point hoarders, mate. They're out there as we speak, collecting diesel and petrol.
I genuinely would have gone. I'm actually flying out on Monday to Greece, so I won't be going as a result of that. But something has to happen about that. I don't necessarily want to get into too deep.
No, get into it, Gully. Come on.
Get into it. Into it.
Say what you really feel.
Well, I'd have happily been able to get tickets by myself if I'm with the level of loyalty points I'm on. If my brother and my dad are going, I think they're going on other people's names because that's just what's ended up having to happen. But
disgusting.
People are flogging him like confetti, and it's a genuine farce. But how do you get around that?
But what are they collecting? What are they collecting the loyalty points for? Like, does it roll over to
next week with the same next away?
Because Leeds and Villa are coming up, and if you haven't got loyalty points for games like this, you ain't going to be in the hat for Leicester and Leeds and Villa.
Do you know what? Do you know if you really want to go to Leeds or Villa, a ticket will pop up if you look hard enough. Always does.
And Wolves have put something in this season that says if you're an away season ticket holder, you have to go to at least 75% of away games to be able to renew the next season.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Should have gone away season ticket then.
But Wolves have made a run for their own back then, in that sense, a little bit.
Not my problem. I've got away season ticket.
I think
you're going to Southampton either.
So, Dan, are you going this Sunday?
No.
Did you buy a ticket?
Yeah.
Scumbag.
You know I'm a scumbag. You know I'm a scumbag. I ain't
God.
I ain't doing a 3.5 hour coach trip. Forget that.
Well, I mean, thinking
You
about the
don't do
game,
the coach,
I know, but the train's like even far away from the stadium as well.
is it?
it's not a good trip by the looks of it. It's not.
On a Sunday at 2 p.m. on the telly, yeah, I'm a softie for this one, but
That's
congratulations to the person who had my ticket. Have a nice day. To be honest, Dad, you don't want me going to Wolves away anyway, Southampton away, because my away record in recent years is disgustingly bad.
Someone's clipping this up as we speak, by the way, I'm sure. But that's 2 trips down there, regardless of how hellish it's been. First half, shite. Second half, wonderful. There was the 3-2 where Adama and Jimenez combined to rip them apart. And then last season, we had perhaps a fortuitous penalty to get us back to 1-1. But Pedro Neto's absolute wonder goal, winning us the game. It feels like that's the trend, and that's what we're going to be following. To be fair, as you can see here, Southampton don't have the best record against Wolves in the last 10. Should we be going into this one with plenty of optimism then, gents?
Definitely.
There used to be a time when I used to think that Southampton were probably our second biggest bogey team behind Brighton. But you look at that stat there, we've only lost 1 in the last 10 against them. And I think that was under Nuno. I think Natty Redmond had a bit of a stormer, I think.
Yeah. It's a game that we've got to be looking to win, regardless of what our aspirations are this season.
I've heard this from a few people now that the next couple we have to win.
The pressure's building on Bruno. I really don't want it to be, but the pressure is building.
Of course it
and I
is.
think the way that our toxic fan base can be, he needs to start
But
getting.
is it
wins
building
on, the
on Bruno or is it building on the club?
Bruno will be the fall man for the club.
Yeah. Folsom ain't going to take no responsibility for the shambles that they've dished out up over the last 12 months.
I'm not sure how many sort of dominoes need to fall within this current set before Jeff Shee was sacked by the owners.
But do you know what it comes down to? I think it comes down to us as fans, because we're very quick to say, Cody this, Dendonka that, Traore this, Nuno that, Bruno this. This is where we need to start saying, hold on a minute. The problem... Right, I'll probably get fucking shot down for this as well. But the problem really is Folsom. Because they got rid of Nuno. Whether you want to believe it or not, they got rid of him. Brought in Bruno off their own backs, but they're still playing with a Nuno team. Why haven't they backed him? Makes zero sense.
But Luke, we've also had this conversation where we know we can get more out of this squad.
Maybe so, but
as much as I like Hwang and Trincao, they haven't backed this manager in the areas that we should have done in order to get the best out of this team.
Thank you, Dan. Really helped me out there. There you go. What are you going to fucking say now?
You've replaced Patricia for Saar.
Which is a decent.
We haven't upgraded our defence since we got promoted.
And this is the problem. Defence and central midfield. And it's Folsom who don't want to spend the money because apparently we was in for this guy, that guy, this guy on transfer deadline day. None of them pulled off because Folsom didn't want to spend the money. So that's where we need to be pointing our fingers at. But I think people are scared because, they've done a fantastic job and they've took us from being absolutely dog shit to being an all right Premier League team. But these are I'm going to stop swearing. These are the ones who come out saying we want to be as big as Man City or the big 4 or 6 in England. They said it. It wasn't us fans that just created this
illusion. There was no demand for that statement.
We're going to be this big. They said it, but now they're not sort of willing to back it to get there, unless they think they can get there on hopes and dreams. But football at the top level don't work that way, unfortunately. Does Sellers have to take some blame? Yeah, I think so as well. I think a lot of them. I think you've got Folsom, Sellers, that. I can't even say what I want to say, but that other geezer, is it Russ or Vinny? Them lot, they're all idiots, man, and they're not good for the club. I'm telling you now, they're all idiots.
Let me say it in a more tactful way. We haven't got football people running our club. The same situation where in recent years, Man United didn't have football people running the club. Ed Woodward has been amazing for Man United. They've been reporting millions of pounds of profit every year. I know they're still in debt, but they've been reporting profit. I don't know if that even makes sense from a financial point of view. You're reporting profit, but you're still in debt. But Man United were getting like official noodle sponsors, all these brand partnerships, which we're now jumping on now. We'll have our own, I don't know, official go-kart supplier soon. We're getting into that many partnerships.
Well,
But the problem we have got is we haven't got football people running our club.
Look,
the numbers, men.
It needs to be kept separate. Like if we want to get a record deal and an esports team and whatever else, I really don't care.
I understand
They are-
why the
they
club
are
are doing.
separate. They are.
Yeah, I
There's
understand
nothing-
why
there's
the club
nothing
are
that
going
affects
down this route.
the-
I
the
understand it.
on-pitch
It will bring in money, but you have to get it right on the pitch. You get yourself a star player. I'm not saying you get a Cristiano Ronaldo. You have to get players on the pitch. Shirt sells. Players who kids like, the normal football fan likes. If you get it right on the pitch, the rest will follow. There wouldn't be. Would Jeep have sponsored Juventus if Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't there?
Well, Jeep are owned by Fiat, who own Juventus. So yeah.
But it's all
They're all
financial
yeah.
corruption, isn't it? It's all
Well,
corruption.
yeah,
Why haven't Fosun renamed Molineux yet?
What, the club made Molineux?
No. Why haven't Fosun renamed Molineux the Fosun Arena and given us £300 million to play in the transfer market?
Because it's not what they want to do, clearly.
Yeah, because it's Fosun on the cheap,
We're waiting for you to do
Fosun
this.
on the cheap.
But that for me, it's we can all slag off Bruno on Dingle's Highway and Twitter and whatever else. So okay, then let's slag off Bruno. Let's get him the chop, and then we'll bring in whoever.
There
Results probably aren't going to change.
And you got to back me on this as well, though, because 2 fixtures ago we were all pretty buzzing, I think, with the way things had gone. To be fair, 90 minutes later, on Sunday afternoon, we could all be looking quite happily at the fixture, at the game, the performance, the results again. So, again, are you optimistic that we're going to get a result on Sunday?
I'll take a draw. I'll take a draw right now.
Is that a result then? Is that what you're classing that as?
Yeah, I think a
The
draw away
team
from home in
who,
the Premier League.
who haven't won a game yet this season, they've drawn 4, they've lost 1. They've had a bit of a iffy start in the sense that they've played some good teams, they've played some okay-ish teams as well. They're probably worse off than last season in the sense that they've lost Danny Ings, they've lost Vestergaard, they've replaced him with Adam Armstrong. Yes, good championship striker. Will he cut it at this level? We'll see. Ryan Bertrand, stalwart, left the club as well. I still think we should be going in and absolutely, putting our foot on the throat of Southampton this weekend.
Do you not think that's a really, really bad stat? That we're looking for back-to-back away wins in the Premier League since a run of 3 in June 2020.
That was just after lockdown when we came
Yeah,
back.
we got to be West Ham, Sheffield United, and
We're not Sheffield. We lost that one, didn't we?
oh shit.
Yeah, I think I know which ones you're referring to, though. It was like 3 1-0 wins in a row or something. It probably isn't as long ago as it feels in terms of football. We've had a shite season in between, but if you told me that we hadn't won back-to-back away wins last season, I'd probably just agree with you.
I think it's got a score draw written all over it purely because of stuff like this. Southampton have opened the scoring in each of their last 5 Premier League meetings with Wolves.
But we've also turned it around on the last 2 occasions.
What I mean. That's why I think it'll be a score draw.
If we think about the team that we're going to play this weekend, we've mentioned it on a couple of occasions about Dendoncker potentially being in with a shout. First of all, what shape do we go in with?
Got to stick with a 5. If Cody's playing, we've got to stick with a 5.
But I think Bruno's came out with that in his press conference today, that he wants to play with 4, but he feels more assured of us playing a 5.
He has. And we're missing Ait Nuri as well. I don't know if you saw him. When he came out the tunnel after being treated, he looked like he was holding hands with the physio. He didn't know where he was. Like,
Really? Was it that bad?
Yeah,
He'll be
was
missing
really
on
bad.
Sunday due to the concussion
Yeah,
protocol.
so hopefully,
Mosquera today was announced as being out for 2 to 3 months with his hamstring injury. And then you still got Neto and Johnny out with long-term knee injuries.
I mean,
I think the team picks itself to a degree.
But this is the problem, right? Because if Folsom would have put their hands in the pocket and just invested a little bit more, you can handle injuries a hell of a lot better. Then you can manage it a lot better. But we're in a situation now where injuries are going to absolutely cripple us.
So going into this weekend, I mean, who is your absolute guaranteed starters? You know, if you have to list them out.
Saar, Neves. Do you know who I'd drop? Seriously, Raul.
It's bold to drop Raul, ain't it?
I would drop him.
Massively bold to drop Raul, but
I would.
It's. I mean, there's nobody's safe really, given the way that we played in the last couple of games. But
I just think we've played 5 league games now, is it?
Yeah.
And Raul has offered, in my opinion, nothing. Now, you can excuse a player offering nothing for 2, possibly 3 games. When you're talking 5, surely you've got to be looking and saying, okay, well, we've got him on the bench, we've got him in reserve, whatever. We're going to give them an opportunity now. It just ain't working for him.
But does that mean you're chucking in Fabio? Does that mean you're chucking in Hwang up there? Because it's still. I agree with the potential for dropping him, but if your approach is based around having a tall, mobile striker who can hold on to the ball, we haven't got a like for like really. So what do you then do?
I'd bring Hwang in. I really would. And it's all right having a tall, mobile striker who holds onto the ball. Raul hasn't been holding onto the ball. He's been killing us. His hold up has been absolutely non-existent. Even just little things like little 5-yard passes, he's knocking them out of play. He's losing possession.
I personally feel like, I mean, at times it's felt a little bit like a Raul kind of pity party, in the sense that everybody feels a bit sorry for him, given that he's had so long out the game, he's had a bad injury. But I can guarantee you that Raul himself is probably really angry with himself right now, definitely. In terms of his own levels. He's probably vexed to hell that 100%. he's not producing that form. So if he's not happy with it, then I don't see why we should necessarily be feeling sorry for him, to be brutally honest.
You could tell his reaction from when he ripped off his head guard. But then that's another thing, like mentally. Does he need just to be taken out of that scenario for a while and ease him back in? I'm not saying completely drop him, but let's try something different. And then with 20 to go, chuck him on. Might change his mentality. It might just relax him a little bit.
I think he's still got too much money in the bank to be dropped yet. I just think all he needs is that one goal to properly kick in. I mean, I just showed there on the screen, Raul to score first, Wolves to win 2-1, 30-1. I personally, if I had to make a change, I'd probably bring in Hwang for Trincao, because I think Hwang and Raul could maybe build a partnership. I think that I did like that chest down from Raul to Hwang against Brentford.
Yeah, that was good.
And I think the more minutes that they get, I think could hold us in good stead. If you can get draw at half time, Hwang to score any time, and Mohamed Salisu to be booked 28-1, which I don't think is a bad bet to be getting on.
That's good value, I think.
If Hwang doesn't start.
I think you could tell Bruno likes him. I think he's his first substitution on the 2 occasions he's had the opportunity to bring him on. And I mean, the one thing that took away from the Spurs game again was that intensity that he plays with. He's a solid boy, and his touch was a bit loose on occasions, but the more games he plays and that goal scoring instinct that he has, he should really be a bit of a hit, I think.
I just think if we're going to start pressing high up the pitch, Hwang's the guy that you want. I still feel like Trincao
can't press.
he's lovely to. He's an aesthetically pleasing player.
Yeah.
But I think over a 90-minute period in the Premier League, he still needs to learn how fast-paced the league is. I don't think he's lightweight. I'm fed up of hearing the comment that he's lightweight. I still think he thinks he's got more time on the ball than what he's used to.
I think, again, when you think about maybe a team who's sat a little bit deeper, someone like Trincao, someone like Pedence, they come into their own a little bit then, and they're probably a bit more a viable option. But it's good to have the variety there as well, isn't it? You know, going away from home.
We've got some fantastic options going forward. You know, we're quite blessed, really. I mean, you look at Hwang, Pedence, they're not even guaranteed starts, but they're good players. Obviously, I know I've just gone on about Raul, but hopefully, you know, I want him to come good. I want him to finish the season with 15, 20 goals. You know, he, on his day, fantastic striker, one of the best in the league. Traore, whoever missed out, Trincao. That's 5 brilliant options going forward. Neto still to come. It's a shakiness at the back.
I just spoke about how much Raul's got in the bank before he's dropped, and with Adama's output, 49 successful take-ons, more than double of any player. 5 of these have ended with a shot from the Spaniard, and 6 of him creating a chance. Until he actually creates an assist, when do you just try something new, whether it's Pedence on the right or Hwang on the right with Trincao starting? How much time has he got before you have to try something new?
I think with Traore, it's a difficult one because the stats, the facts, everything's there in your face. Got your goals and assists, sort of goal contribution output isn't good enough. But I just think what he offers, no one else, pretty much no one else in the Premier League, apart from maybe Saint-Maximin and Ismail Assar. And I know it's not as explosive, but what Grealish brings as well, he just brings something that is so rare and so useful when it works. It's hot for me. Now I know loads of people disagree with this, but for me, I think Traore is undroppable. I think we drop Traore and we lose the dynamic of the team.
You saw it in the second half against Tottenham. The other thing, kind of going back to the point we're making about Fosun and all the different things in different pies that we've got, Traore is probably our most marketable footballer as well. You know, he absolutely is box office. Everywhere he goes.
The only thing missing is if he was Chinese or Japanese.
Oh yeah,
he'd be worth $1 billion.
Can I just drop a comment to piss you two off by Stu? Traore offers nothing after 4 years of hardly any end product. Fraud.
But at the end of the day, Stu, we know what Stu's all about. You know, we'll just ignore that comment. I think that's probably for the best.
Fraud. I hate that word. I hate the word fraud.
He's done that. I know he's laughing at his confusing now because he knows he's fucking wound us up. And he's sitting there watching us laughing. I know he is, but he's chatting shit. I like Stu. Stu, he's a funny guy, but he's chatting shit.
Do you still have him saved as stupid in your phone, Dan?
Mr. Pid.
There we go.
I mean, you see the fear in the defender's eyes when Traore's got the ball. Now, don't get me wrong, some of his crossing, terrible. When he overhits it and he goes out for a throw or halfway into the Steve Ball, whichever end we're attacking. But even though his goal contributions aren't great, and some of his left foot shots do annoy me, but then he's been unlucky. I think he was really unlucky against Brentford when he nearly smashed the bar in half. And just because he's getting no assists, we can look at the striker for that as well. You know, it's not all on Traore because he does put some good balls in as well. And if people aren't in the right position or their finishing isn't good enough, then that's not on Traore, really, is he?
No, it's not. It's not. It's definitely not. But it's a good debate to have, and I'm just pleased we can have that debate because we haven't always had a load of options like that over the last few years.
All our fans, right? Not all of them, sorry. But a lot
all
of
them, Luke. All of them.
A lot of our fans will slate Traore. He's crap. He's this. We had one just pop up then. Our pal Stu. But imagine if he played against us. He would tear us a new arsehole and we'd all be sitting in the stands. Fucking hell, I wish he played for us. I won't mind him down here. Guarantee.
I wouldn't mind him down here would be in at least one person in every row of Molyneux would say that.
Yeah,
Wouldn't mind him down here, that
exact
winger.
sentence.
Yeah. Who's that big lad for Palace? Oh, we'll mould him down. Who? Traore. We'll mould him down here. That's exactly what you get.
Well, the other point I wanted to make was another half-time change last time around was we switched Neto and Traore over to their wrong sides, inverted them, and that's what got us the result. And it looks like we're probably going to be attacking from the start that way. So, does that mean we're going to get ahead in the game for once down at St Mary's?
I think, like what Steve said, there would help Traore if players made an effort to get into the box instead of waiting outside of it. I think until we're able to sacrifice a centre back to actually get an extra body in the box, Traore's on hiding to nothing because it's like trying to land a flipping needle into a golf hole from the tee, innit?
I mean, imagine if Traore played for Chelsea or somebody like that.
On feeding Lukaku with crosses all game.
And then he's got his runners from midfield as well.
I don't think we can play Trincao as a left winger in this game. I think Southampton are going to be pretty deep defensively, and I think he's, like you've already mentioned, I think Trincao running at defenders instead of having to get in behind will be better, more beneficial for him.
I think having watched Southampton the last couple of years under Hasenhüttl, I think they like pressing. I think there's going to be spaces in this game once you get around the pressing stuff. So that's where players like Hwang and Traore should be killing them, personally speaking. But also, I'll be really pleased to see Prudence start if he had the chance as well.
He's got to be pushing. Him and Hwang have got to be pushing for a start. I'm not sure how they've fared in training this week, but if I was sort of Trincao, I'd be nervously looking at the team sheet when it goes up to see if I'm starting.
Yeah. So, can I nail you boys down to a couple of predictions, please? Daniel, where are you going?
I'm going with Nathan Redmond to score first, Jean Martino to be booked, and the game to finish a draw, 250-1.
That's long, but that's a shout.
It's a shout.
Read that again for the viewers listening. Nathan Redmond to score first. When we talked about it, Justin, and I think last time we got beat by Southampton, I think he scored 2 that day. Nathan Redmond to score first, Jean Martino to be booked, and the game to finish a draw, 250-1 with our partners, Ball Sports.
Feeling a pound on that, you know. I'm tempted, but I'll put my betting away after the Euros, so that won't be me. Luke, what do you reckon?
Well, after I've just said that that I would drop him personally, I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves, Raul Jimenez brace.
Oh, you can get that, as we all said. Wolves to win 2-1. Jimenez first goal scorer, 30-1.
Just to cover my own back.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Wolves and Traore to score at some point.
This millennium.
He's going to get the monkey off his back and get a goal.
Hey, you can't say that.
That's it. YouTube algorithms. That's blocked this episode now.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. Preview show officially wrapped up. Thank you for joining us. As always, we are part of the 90 Minute Football Network, and this will be available as a podcast for anybody who hasn't caught it. I don't know why I'm saying that now, to be honest, but never mind. Look forward to seeing all the randomers that are going to be taking tickets on Sunday cheering us on as well. I hope they all know the songs and stuff. Because it could be any man and his dog at this rate. From me, Luke, and Dan, thanks for joining us, and speak soon.